uniform, they still serve. You're a scout leader to your kids. Service is in your blood, you're doing it every single...
Thank you everyone. I'm delighted to be here again this evening to present this award to our youngest winner. Please welcome to the stage.
Atmosphere, making our competitors feel like the stars they are.
Have you ever seen a moment where an entire world flips upside down in less than 10 seconds? That's exactly the shock that rippled through the room when Meghan strutted onto that stage, completely unannounced. She expected the usual. Harry, ever the devoted husband, would pass her the microphone like he always had. But this time, Harry's grip tightened. His knuckles went firm around that mic. His gaze didn't flinch. He didn't even turn toward her. Instead, he kept his eyes forward and oh my god, he did something no one in that hall thought he ever would. This wasn't the old Harry we'd come to know, the man who yielded the spotlight. No, this was a different Harry, and the crowd felt it instantly.
And it was some peer supporters from LA County Fire Department, and man.
Picture this, Harry at the podium, owning the stage, delivering his speech like he was born for it. The words flowed effortlessly, the passion in his voice undeniable. The audience hung on every sentence, nodding along, captivated by his personal stories, his heartfelt mission. You could see it, Harry was in his element. A prince without a crown, but a man in total command of the moment. And then, just like a scene from a soap opera, Meghan glides in from the shadows, unannounced, uninvited, not even on the program, yet there she was.
Now here's a video of Meghan watching Harry as he's giving out his award, and you can tell she is not
suddenly behind him, ready to step into the spotlight. As Meghan moved across that stage, Harry's demeanor faltered for just a second. His polished rhythm cracked, his shoulders stiffened. That unplanned arrival threw him off balance. You could almost hear the thought racing through his head. What is she doing here? His eyes darted, his sentence clipped, and the crowd, oh, the crowd, sat in stunned silence, their expressions a mirror of his shock. Should they clap? Should they cheer? Should they pretend this was all part of the plan? No one knew. The air thickened with awkward tension. Remember, people had come for Harry. They wanted his words, his story, his passion. Suddenly, this unscheduled twist was thrust upon them, and the audience froze. Heads turned. Whispers spread like wildfire across the rows.
Why didn't Prince Harry give Meghan Markle the mic? He had it. I mean, he had the mic this time, unlike...
The silence? Deafening. There was no polite applause, no warm welcome, none of the usual gestures you'd expect when someone joins a speaker mid-presentation. It was as if the entire hall collectively gasped, but refused to exhale. And don't forget, hundreds of cameras were capturing every second of this unplanned drama. What started as a confident speech instantly twisted into an improvised performance. The once engaged crowd transformed into a sea of uncertainty. Every face wore the same expression. What exactly are we watching right now? It was no longer Harry's stage. It was an unscripted spectacle, the kind you can't look away from, even if you want to. What makes it juicier? The reaction was unlike anything we'd seen before.
Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up because Meghan Markle...
Usually when someone joins a speaker, the audience plays along. There's at least a polite clap, a bit of courtesy. But here, nothing. Just that chilling silence. So hesitant. So unsure. People weren't just watching Harry and Meghan, they were analyzing, wondering, gossiping in real time. Is this a power struggle? A mistake? Or the beginning of something bigger? By the next morning, you'd think headlines would be plastered everywhere with this shocking scene, right? But instead,
Queen's Platinum Jubilee, in as much as Harry and Meghan were forced to keep a low profile.
social media and mainstream outlets served us a carefully polished illusion. Picture-perfect snapshots of Harry and Meghan smiling like a flawless team. Not a trace of the tension we all saw. Every photo screamed unity, as if nothing awkward had ever happened. But where was the video? Where were the raw, uncut clips? Hidden, buried, pushed aside. The media's choice was deliberate. They could have shown the real moment, the awkward silence, Harry's cold grip on the mic.
Harry and Meghan Markle stole the show at California's 1805 Live Benefit concert, and it was pure Hollywood drama.
But no, they gave us glossy images. Meghan glowing, Harry engaged, the picture of harmony. Viewers scrolling online had no idea what truly unfolded. The cameras were rolling, the footage existed. But what did the public see? A curated fantasy. This is how the game works. Editorial decisions shape perception. They had hours of footage, multiple angles, and yet the world was spoon-fed a handful of flattering frames. We're told what to believe, not what to see. The reality, awkwardness, silence, visible tension, was swept under the rug. And trust me, this wasn't by accident. This was strategy. That strategy is textbook celebrity coverage. Media doesn't just report, they craft a narrative. Sometimes they'll dissect every frame of video, every raised eyebrow. Other times they'll handpick highlights and serve them up like candy. And in this case, the candy was sweet, glossy still shots, not the bitter truth of what happened on stage. The footage exists, but the story we got was carefully sanitized. But here's where it gets fascinating. This wasn't just about optics. This microphone moment symbolized something deeper. For years, Harry had followed a set routine. When Meghan joined him, he shared the spotlight. It was their thing. He'd step aside, they'd tag team the presentation like a well-rehearsed act. People expected it. They had seen it time and again at galas, charity events, awards nights. Harry and Meghan united on stage, always.
Markle suffered an awkward microphone blunder after taking to the stage at a star-studded...
Think back to all those past events. Harry and Meghan working as a polished duo. At charity galas, award ceremonies, fundraisers, you name it. Every time, Harry would make sure Meghan had her moment. Sometimes he'd even coordinate with event organizers to guarantee she got speaking time even when she wasn't officially scheduled. It became so routine that people expected it. They knew. When Meghan stepped up, Harry would pass her the mic, they'd share the stage, and it would look seamless. Like clockwork. But not this time. This time, Meghan reached for her usual moment, and Harry didn't budge. His hand stayed firm, his body still turned toward the audience.
Here's the moment everybody keeps dancing around, but nobody's really talking about the mic. That tiny...
And he carried on with his words as though she wasn't there. His focus didn't flicker, his posture didn't shift. This wasn't some careless oversight. It was deliberate, and believe me, the people in that room noticed. Because this wasn't just about a piece of audio equipment. No, this was about control. That microphone symbolized ownership of the message, the spotlight, the room. For years, Harry had shared it willingly. But now, standing firm with that mic, he was making a statement. And the audience? They recognized the shift instantly. Whispers darted across the rows. Was this Harry asserting himself?
She was snubbed by Hollywood. What's hilarious is that Meghan really did think, I'm told, that when she paid 12...
Was Meghan being sidelined? It was juicy, it was shocking, and it was impossible to ignore. Usually, you'd see that smooth transition. Harry speaking, then Meghan gracefully stepping in, their words weaving together. But not tonight. Tonight, Harry refused the script. He kept the stage for himself, and Meghan was left standing beside him, waiting for a cue that never came. The atmosphere changed. People leaned forward, sensing the tension, trying to decode the silent message playing out before their eyes. What made it all the more jaw-dropping was how calm Harry looked. There was no hesitation in him, no awkward stumble. It was as though he had decided, right then and there, that he was going to finish his piece solo. Confident, determined, owning the moment. And let's be honest, that was a first. And then there was Meghan. Oh, she had clearly dressed for the spotlight. A designer piece, polished to perfection, chosen to scream sophistication. Under those glaring stage lights, every detail of her outfit popped, maybe more than intended. Some whispered it clashed with the setting's formal aesthetic. Others said it stood out too boldly. Either way, it was impossible not to notice. Meghan wanted eyes on her, and she got them, but for reasons she may not have expected. The truth is, stage lighting has no mercy. What looks elegant under soft room lights can suddenly seem overly flashy under those professional beams. And that's exactly what happened here. Meghan's look, while glamorous, seemed louder than the event itself, making her stand out like an exclamation point in a room full of periods. And just as the crowd was processing that image, the staging changed. Event organizers subtly adjusted positions, a normal thing in live shows. But here, it was telling. Meghan and Harry ended up placed distinctly apart, no longer the united front everyone had grown used to. Still, Meghan kept her composure. She smiled, carried herself with grace, played the part of the seasoned public figure. But behind that composure, oh, the cracks were visible. Harry had just made a choice, a very public one. Because here's the twist. This wasn't an isolated incident. Insiders whisper this microphone drama was just one piece of a much larger pattern, a silent tug-of-war happening behind closed doors. The cracks had been forming long before this night. The stage just made it impossible to hide. Now, the gossip deepens. This wasn't only about who held the mic, this was about bigger decisions, about family, about their children, about identity itself. Harry, in private, had long insisted his kids deserved both worlds. The American upbringing Meghan championed and the British traditions that ran through his veins. He wanted them to know their roots, to straddle both cultures. But making that happen? Oh, it wasn't simple. Remember Kevin Costner's charity event? That night had been the perfect stage for their united front. Harry spoke, Meghan joined, and the crowd clapped as though they were witnessing royal magic. People left believing in their power as a team. That was the old routine. But this time, Meghan's hand reached, Harry's grip stayed firm, and the illusion shattered. This wasn't about words anymore. It was about control. Control of the stage, the message, the spotlight. And for Meghan, who had built so much of her identity on standing right beside Harry, it must have felt like a door slamming in her face. When Harry carried on solo, the air shifted. The audience knew something was wrong, even if they couldn't articulate it. You could practically hear the gossip forming. Is this the end of the Sussex act? Harry looked cool, composed, almost liberated, as if holding that microphone alone was a decision he'd been waiting to make. His eyes didn't flinch. His voice didn't crack. He wasn't just giving a speech, he was making a statement. Meanwhile, Meghan's outfit, meant to dazzle, became another talking point. Some attendees whispered, it screamed, "Look at me." More than it whispered, "We're a team." Under those lights, her look seemed almost too bold, too loud, and when paired with Harry's icy grip on the mic, the contrast was impossible to miss. Fashion became metaphor. Meghan dressed to be seen, Harry spoke to be heard, and on that stage, they weren't complimenting each other anymore. They were clashing. Behind the glamour, though, was something far bigger brewing, because this wasn't just about one night, one microphone, or one awkward silence. It was about identity, about power, about who truly leads this partnership. The cracks had been forming in private for years. Conversations about the kids' upbringing, fights about which causes to prioritize, battles over how much time to spend in America versus Britain. The microphone just made all that private conflict spill into public view. Harry had long dreamed of blending his children's worlds, American freedom and British tradition. Meghan leaned heavily toward California, her comfort zone, her chosen kingdom. Both wanted the best. Both thought they knew how to get there. But compromise? That was the missing piece. And compromise doesn't work so well when played out on stage in front of hundreds of flashing cameras. Then there's the media. Oh, the media knows how to play this game. By the time headlines hit, the story had already been rewritten. Perfect smiles, warm captions, the Duke and Duchess united as ever. But those who were there whispered the opposite. Of course, Meghan wasn't just going to fade into the background. She has always been a fighter, always been determined to be heard. But that night, she wasn't given the mic. And for someone used to controlling the narrative, that silence spoke louder than any speech she could have given. The drama didn't end there. It rarely does with them. After all, the Sussexes aren't just a couple, they're a brand. Every move is calculated, every photo staged, every headline spun. And when cracks appear in a brand like that, the whole world notices. That night wasn't just an awkward blip, it was a glimpse into a bigger story. A story of power struggles, media manipulation, fashion statements turned metaphors, and a marriage caught between love and ambition. And trust me, this microphone saga, it's not the last clash we'll see, it's just the one that slipped through the cracks before being papered over with glossy photos and smiling captions.